Did you know that 52% of young adults still live with one parent or both? And I'm one of them. Maybe you are too. Coronavirus messed up a lot of plans, and some of us have had to start over. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that. This episode is a rallying cry, and it's all about how we are going to get a life or get our life back. Welcome to J.A.R.R.E.D Talks. My name is Jared, and today I'm just a really enthusiastic dude because today we're talking about how to get a life. Now, I want to warn you, what you're about to hear contains the words hard and work, sometimes put together, just letting you know. And now that we have that out of the way, I think I should explain a bit of backstory here before we get into it. You see, this episode and the previous episode, episode 3, comes from a conversation I had with a viewer during the live stream. By the way, if you didn't know, I do these podcasts live on twitch.tv/The J.A.R.R.E.D Show. You can come join in the discussion by clicking the link in the description. This conversation was not part of the podcast, nor did it have anything to do with the podcast. But the first podcast we did here on Twitch called You Matter, in that same broadcast, which was last Monday, later on in that broadcast, I guess a few hours, I had a conversation with a viewer that left a lasting impression. It is something I felt would be very informative. The discussion was about how this person was being politely kicked out of their parents' house because ultimately they didn't have a job. So let me read some of the excerpts from that broadcast. And I want to explain the point I was trying to make to them, and I think some of the point of what we need to do to be able to move forward. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you got going on. So they came in the chat, I asked how they were doing. They responded with, pretty bad, but trying to be cool-headed and deal with it. Family telling me I have to move out. Which is like number 7, they've changed their mind about that. I asked how long, and this has been going on. They've been in the chat for a good 5 or 6 months. So this has been going on for months. So I asked how long they had to find a place. And they responded with, I have no idea. They want me to have 5 days here, which is the place they're living, and then a hotel for 7 days. And since they don't have a job, those people will be paying for that hotel. And they said, I don't know how much I can do in 12 days anyway. And then they said, part of me just plans to be homeless, screw jobs, if they're even serious this time. And you may, if you've listened to the last podcast, that's kind of where we ended things in the last podcast, because I wanted to explain, like, I've been homeless and it's not a lot of fun. I've had to dig my way back out of that with a lot of help and a lot of hard work. And even then, once I did, coronavirus hit, and here I am living in my dad's house again. So I'm still digging myself out and getting back to another lifestyle. And that's what this podcast is all about, is how to get, because I've already done it before, I can do it again, how to get to that next level as I'm doing it, and if you're wondering how to do that as well. So I asked if they had a job and started talking about how a job can actually open up our opportunities, and you can meet new people. You can meet, potentially new roommates and new friends, maybe the love of your life, who knows? They said, I just think a job would drive me crazy. And so I asked if they are telling you to leave because you have no job, and they said, yeah, basically saying it's just because I'm jobless. Again, I talked about getting a job, and they said, I believe in a conspiracy that 40 hours of work is the closest the elites could get us to slavery. and that you just get home, wash the dishes, and sleep for work tomorrow. I then ask, what do you do every day? Right? So what is it that you're doing that's different than that lifestyle you're talking about? Their response was a very simple: video games, weed, chess, TV, with a big laughing cat or something like that. And they said, why would me trying my best to make my boss rich while he screws me make me fulfilled? And again, we kept going through these back and forth, right? So I'm trying to convince them, like, there's more things that you can do to make your life better and get to a different level in things, instead of blaming other people and these kind of things. I was trying to do that tactfully. Perhaps I didn't achieve that goal, but I asked, why is it that your parents' responsibility to make sure you have food, a place to stay, money for weed, and video games, and provide the quote video games, weed, chess, and TV? And they said, I'm not saying it's their responsibility though. And they said, just that I refuse to be a slave. And I responded with ideas like, go get a job, get out there, make your own life. I realized that the elites or politicians are terrible people, but that doesn't mean you can just coast, and that because you refuse to work, it's forcing your parents and the people around you, maybe your friends or your roommates or whatever, to be your slave, because they're going out and they're working and doing their part for the household, for the place that everybody lives. And you're not, right? So basically, they're your slave now. And that's not okay. And their response was, you realize politicians are literally Satan, and I'm just in a bad spot, and the societal narrative encourages people to crap on me equals I'm evil, clearly. Which is just a side step of things. Obviously, okay, I must be wrong. It's the okay, whatever kind of idea. After some talk about the system and how things work, I tried to scale things back a bit and said, I'm guessing you love your parents and the people around you. They had this to say to that. Hate them, called them my ex-family in my diaries. And I was trying to drive the point that by not working and not contributing to the situation you're in, you're hurting the people around you in a short term. In the long term, you're really just hurting yourself. You're the person that is going to have to deal with the consequences of the decisions you're making every day to just not move forward and not build a future for yourself. And I said, if you love those people, then do your part and help them instead of just taking everything and anything you can get for them. They again tried to scale things up to a society problem by saying, I find it propaganda that I'm hurting society. I asked, why do you hate people that are obviously supporting you? They responded with, I hate them because they're abusive as shit. So I tried to explain that resentment, which I've been through in couple of different situations, resentment can be very, very terrible. And it can force people to do things they wouldn't normally do. It's not okay. It's not okay for anybody to, whatever it is that they may be doing. Put stuff in your food, or mess with you in some way, or mess up your food, or take your stuff, or, threaten you in any way. None of that stuff's okay. But you have to look at the part that you play in that situation and how your actions are determining consequences, whether it be from them or from the people around you or society or however that works. I tried to shift things to what that person can do to get out of that situation rather than agreeing and just letting them think that staying in that situation is okay. And those people should change and encourage the whole poor me mentality. I think that person was looking for me to say, hey, that sucks. That's not okay, and just kind of move on. I didn't really do that because I've been hearing the same story for months, with no real change in their mentality or the situation. And one of those two things has to change. Either the situation's going to change, they're going to kick you out, you're going to get a job, you're going to do whatever, or your mentality changes and then you get a job and these kind of things. From there, the conversation got very defensive. The longer the conversation went on, the more this person tried to gaslight me into agreeing with them. And eventually, because I was telling them the truth and sharing, something I've learned straight through experience. I've been through all of these things. It's something they really just didn't want to hear, and not allowing them to gaslight me. They were, because everything is written in chat. You can see what they're saying, but what I'm saying as a streamer is not written. They're trying to make me think that I said something I didn't, 5 minutes before. But I'm not that far gone. I don't have senility as far as I know, so far. And so they were trying to say, taking back what I said and all these kind of things. Because of all of this and this conversation and how these things went down, they unfollowed the Twitch. They canceled their channel subscription, which is generally about $5 a month, and they haven't been back since. And telling the truth and trying to help someone find a way through the fog of smoking weed and being so self-absorbed and entitled cost me a follower and took money out of my pocket at the end of the day. But I think that's okay. So I would rather try to help and not pander to people than make money and tell you kind of what you want to hear. And I think this whole situation is very informative. I didn't do all of these things. I'm not making these podcasts to get back at this person at all, or to get them back in any way. I think, to me, it's very interesting to hear myself be on the other end of this conversation, because I've been that person saying those things, and I've come through the other side of it, of recognizing, life takes work, and the things that you're gonna have to do to do whatever it is that you want in life is gonna take a fair amount of work. Nothing is given to you, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Here's the thing: I'm actually in the same situation, minus the obvious abuse and the external pressure. I live with my dad, but I go to work every day, and then I come on stream and I work at night and do podcasts and play chess and entertain people and have fun. So it appears that 52% of young adults live with one or more parents, and I'm one of them. And that ex-subscriber is as well. I think the difference between us is that I see a way out. I see a way, because I've done this before. I've lived with my dad. I've gotten my own situation, my own apartment, my own vehicle, my own job, my own everything. I've done all of this before. Coronavirus kind of messed up the thing that I was doing. I was a missionary, and I was traveling back and forth across the United States, and had to kind of switch gears and figure out kind of the best way of going about things. I think that's what this is about. That's what this podcast is about. It's what the Twitch channel is about, and the YouTube channel is a missionary in a different sense, doing things a little bit differently, still trying to help, but doing that in different ways, hopefully much more effective as well. So I've done this before. I know what it takes to get to the next level, and I can do it again. And really, what it takes, here comes those magic words, those dreaded 4-letter words that nobody wants to hear, is hard work. That's really what it takes. I'm willing, and I know it takes hard work to get anywhere in this world. So what's the path? Now that we've gotten that out of the way, how do we get a life? Let's get a bit deeper and sort this thing out. So they came into chat, and we got into all these kind of things. As we were going through all these things, it became readily apparent to me that their sense of entitlement was really holding them back from getting to a better lifestyle. And unfortunately, that happens to a lot of people. And I think there's really only two things that are going to get you to the next level. And we're going to go over those in just a minute. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. And welcome back. You're listening to the Jared Talks podcast. This episode is all about how to get a life. So how do we get there? Right? Maybe we recognize, like, I don't like my situation. Right? I want to be able to have my own refrigerator and my own stuff. I want to be able to have my own lifestyle, my own life. Right? Maybe I don't like the roommates I'm living with. Maybe I don't, I'm sick of living with my parents, or maybe even a spouse that you are just ready to move on from. And it's hard to recognize, like, I've built my life with this person. How do I get something else going? I've had experience in all of those, every single bit of those, both helping people do those things and being that person. So how do we get there? And here comes those nasty 4-letter words again. Work hard. That's one. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret I've learned over the years. I'm old. I'm not as old as dirt, but I'm pretty old. As far as Twitch goes. Twitch, I might be 120. No, I'm joking. I've learned some things in my life just through experience. And one thing I'm going to let you in on this little secret that I think everybody can benefit from. And it's very simple. The world doesn't owe you shit. And the longer you have the entitlement attitude, the longer your dreams will remain dreams and not get sorted out into goals. Now, I want to expand on that idea a little bit more. So one is, the world doesn't owe you shit, okay? If you are in this mode, and I've been there, and I've seen a lot of people that are still in that mode of, well, I should just be able to have this or have that, or of course I deserve this or I deserve that. It's like, you really have to do something, right? I think a lot, especially in maybe the 90s and 2000s, this idea of, parents have to earn the respect of their kids. That's somewhat true. It's somewhat true. I am on board with that a little bit more than I think maybe a generation before me would be. But at the same time, you have to earn the respect of other people as well. It's reciprocal. It's not just you deserve respect. You deserve a house. You deserve as much as you work for. So if you're not working towards anything, we'll get to that in a minute, but if you're not working towards anything, there's not a whole lot that you deserve. There's not a whole lot that you're going to get. And I want to get into something. I don't know if you've ever heard this person or not. It's a person named Zig Ziglar. He's a motivational speaker. Kind of a funny guy, very good at what he does. He did it for a number of years. I don't think he is still with us anymore. He's a little bit on the older side, but some of the things that he has to say are just timeless. And one of the things he talks about is your dreams, the ideas that you have. So I personally have a dream of having this thing I call the content farm. So I would have farmers and almost somewhat of a commune idea where people are working off the land and living off the land as much as comfortably, not super out there kind of thing. And then mixing that with the idea of like streamers such as myself, such as, you know, anybody else you might see on Twitch or YouTube, that are content creators, and then mixing in the bunch with like cooks. You know, somebody, whoever's cooking the meal for the entire crew of people is also a streamer. Anybody that's farming is also streaming. Everybody's creating content, but they're also, as they're creating content, they're doing something physically or it within the world itself, not just playing a video game or whatever. Creating constructive content, productive content. So I have this grandiose, crazy vision, right? And it's a dream. And anybody, let's say, whoever you happen to be, thank you, Furious, appreciate you. 4-month streak, thank you, Furious, I appreciate you. I'm gonna start that over a little bit because I'll edit this part out, but I did want to say thank you, Furious. So I have this big vision and this big dream, and whoever you are, wherever you happen to be, whatever your dream is, let's say it's something small, let's say it's something big, let's say you want to be a politician or the president of the United States or a billionaire, a millionaire, whatever it happens to be. That dream is gonna stay just a dream or a fantasy until you turn that dream into goals that you can achieve. So once you turn that dream into goals, so you look at, okay, so this is what I want to be, a billionaire, right? So you go look at other people that became billionaires, Bezos and Bill Gates and all these people, right? You're going to go look at other people that became billionaires, and you're going to work backwards. How did they get to where they are? So you're looking at, okay, they're a billionaire, you work all the way backwards, this is where they started, and then you watch their journey. You're no different. You're going to treat yourself the same way. So you're going to say, okay, I want to be a billionaire. You're going to work all the way back, but you're going to go step by step backwards. Okay, so if I'm a billionaire, what's the company or what's the thing I'm going to do to become that? And how am I going to start that? And you work your way all the way back to what is my next step tomorrow? And you create all these goals and get yourself ready to be able to go in that direction. Last year around this same time, I had a goal of running 3 miles. And I did that. I got on the Couch to 5K app and got into it. Before I started that, I recognized that I wouldn't be able to immediately do it. So I walked for about 3 weeks every night just to get myself into the habit of being out at that particular time and doing this and having physical exercise of some sort. Once I was comfortable with that and I was ready, I thought I was ready, I started the program. The program is an 8-week program. I did not have that long to get to where I wanted to be on the date that I wanted. So I had about 6 weeks. So I combined some stuff. Instead of doing 3 weeks a day, I did 4. Combined some things, and within 6 weeks, on the day that I wanted to, I ran 3 miles. And I recognized, I looked at a day in the future, I said, okay, so I'm gonna run 3 miles, which is a 5K. It's actually, I think it's 3.1 miles to get to 5K. So I said, this day right here, I'm gonna run a 5K. And I worked backwards from that to realize, what do I have to do tomorrow to be able to do that? The more that I did that, the more that I achieved those goals, and I got into that program. Program's great. I actually intend to go back into that program and do that all over again, because it was so well effective. It was very effective, and it works so well. But that's how you do it. That's how you're gonna get to another level. That is the physical means of things. I want to get into the mentality that you have to cultivate in order to get to another level. The mentality I had to cultivate to run 3 miles. or 3.1 miles, right? The mentality is a very simple mentality. It's something that you can see people that succeed on a daily basis. You can see the way that they do things, and you can start to emulate that. And basically, it's very simple. It's work on something, not just at something. So this is a really good book. I've read it a couple times, and anyone that's trying to find their way should read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you've ever been on the Botez channel with the girls that play chess, they featured it. I think actually Andrea actually read it on stream one time, which was an interesting experiment. But if you've ever seen that, or if you've ever seen anything to do with Rich Dad Poor Dad, I won't give you a whole rundown of the books. Great book, go read it if you get a chance. I think just this one simple idea we'll kind of extract out of it can be very beneficial. And it doesn't matter what age you are. Let's say you're in your teens. Let's say you're 14, 15. Let's say you're in your 20s. You're 25, 27. Let's say you're 30, 40, 50, even retired age, 70, 80. This is a very beneficial idea for everybody. And I'll get to how that corresponds to different ages. But the idea is very easy to understand. Don't work to earn money, right? Work to learn skills, right? So don't work to earn, work to learn. Now, if you're just starting getting into a job, maybe you have your first job or your second or third, you're doing something maybe you don't like that much. What you want to do is you want to look, what am I learning in this? How is this job helping me to develop skills, right? Now, the older you get, let's say you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s, what you want to do is you want to say, okay, so what job am I in now, right? And you set that aside, whether you like it or not, right? You set that aside and you look at the jobs that you've done. A really great exercise is to sit down with a pen and paper, or maybe type it out on the computer. Type out or write down the jobs that you've had throughout your entire life, right? The first job you had all the way down to what, and really, make it a night. Make it, a good Sunday night or something, or middle of the way, hump day or whatever. Today's hump day, by the way. Today's Wednesday. Happy hump day. Do it tonight. Do it whenever you get a chance. But write down every single job you've ever had, and write down every single skill that you could possibly imagine that you gained out of that job. Now, once you've done that, you have all these skills listed from, 40, 50, 60 years of experience. Then you get to look back and say, okay, so what can I do with all those skills, right? Because chances are, even if you are stocking shelves at Walmart, you're still learning a skill, right? You're learning organization, you're learning packaging, you're no matter where you are, what you're doing, you're going to be learning a skill. So whether it be your first job or your 20th, right? You're still learning that skill. And the older you are, the more you can start to create your own program, so to speak. So if I sat down, I said, for me, I used to have this up on my, if you're watching on Twitch, you can go look at the About Me section. I used to have this in the About Me section, but all the jobs I've ever had. So I have been a lawn care technician. I've done engineering maintenance at a hotel. I have currently, right now, I am a painter, and I've done everything in just about everything when it comes to construction. When it comes to new construction or remodeling, I've built entire sheds and add-ons and room additions and painted entire houses inside, outside. I've done plumbing, electrical, roofing, flooring, everything. When it comes to restaurants, I've done everything in a restaurant but be a bartender. I've been a cashier, a waiter, a fry cook, a line cook, a prep cook, a dishwasher, host, food runner. I've done all of those things. So if I sit down and I read off all of so what did I learn in each one of those jobs? Now I have an arsenal. I am armed to the teeth with skills that I can use and parlay and say, hey man, I know that I'm a decent people, but I've worked in restaurants and construction, and with my ex-girlfriend in California, I started a green cleaning service. I know how to organize, if nothing else. You can start to pick out the biggest skills that you've had to use almost in every single job and realize what am I actually capable of? And what do I need to learn? What's the thing I'm lacking if this is what I'm trying to do? For me, I'm trying to have a podcast and have an online presence and somewhat be an influencer, but more of a person that is capable of explaining ideas to people, getting ideas across. Much more of a producer more than an influencer, but there's always skills we need to learn. So what you're trying to do is develop those skills so that you can develop the goals you want to achieve and work towards those goals. So basically what it is, you don't want to be working at a job. You want to be working towards something. You're working on something. This is what I'm working on. I want to build a boat and travel the world. I want to create a community of streamers that is the biggest community in the world, and everybody has a great life, and it's mutually beneficial to everybody that watches, everybody that streams. I want to be president of the United States. I want to be a billionaire. All of these things, you need to be working on that thing and working towards that thing instead of just at a job. So for me, if I'm painting a house or building an addition or a room addition or whatever, I'm working towards something. So I'm learning new skills. I'm honing the skills that I have so I can go out and do something else. So what you need to do is don't just work at a job. Develop goals you want to achieve and work toward those goals so that every single thing that you do, you are working on those goals. I think that's pretty much the idea. Bottom line is very simple. Life isn't easy. No one ever said it was gonna be, nor should it be. If you want something, anything, chances are you're gonna have to work for it or on it, at least towards it. Relationships take work. Helping other people is work. Building towards a lifestyle you would rather be living is work. I work a day job every day. Then I also work on this podcast. I work on the stream. I stream for up to 24 hours a week, where I work on getting better at chess and helping people as much as I can, talking people through stuff, maybe helping people alleviate fears that they have. At the end of the day, life is hard work. It's enjoyable. I enjoy streaming. I love podcasting. I love talking like this. It's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But it takes a lot of work, to be able to sit down and write these things out and think this thing through and figure all these things out. To be able to get it across to you takes a lot of work. And I accept that. And I realize that at the end of the day, the hard work is worth it. Helping someone realize something, or talking through a bad situation with someone, or just entertaining people is definitely worthwhile. Just remember, the world doesn't owe you shit. It doesn't owe us shit. It doesn't owe me anything. So get going. Get moving. Get up. Get out and get something. Because you don't want to wake up years from now with nothing. And you will. Because no one is going to do it for you. How do you get a life? By realizing that all you have to do is ask yourself, what kind of life do you want? And work towards it. You want more friends? Be a friend to someone and work on being the best friend to that person they have ever had. Don't be a sucker or a pushover, but be a great friend. Want a better living situation? Work towards buying a house or moving to a better apartment. Whatever you want, you can have if you work towards it. Keep this in mind, that you matter. What you say, what you do, and what's going on inside of you, it matters. So don't take yourself lightly. Be humble, be strong, do good things. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening wherever you may be. And a special thanks to all the people here. Thank you, Furious, for being here, for the subscription. Appreciate you. Again, if you would like to watch this podcast live and join in the discussion, we do the podcast on Mondays and Wednesdays. You can come check it out at twitch.tv/The J.A.R.R.E.D Show and jump right in. If you missed an episode, want more content, want to get some cool stuff, we're going to have some t-shirts and these kind of things, sweatshirts and stuff like that coming up on there. Or you're just curious, you want to check things out, go check out thejaredshow.com. There you'll find the podcast, the store, the links to just about everything, including my social media and this live stream. Speaking of the live stream, we're going to keep things going, and we will see you next time on J.A.R.R.E.D Talks.